they're saying you don't have the right to jump in here anyway. So that's that. Edgar Pomeroy, thank you so much for the compliment and for your generosity. I so appreciate it. I have the best viewers. I really, really do. It's good to see all of you here today. Reminder, subscribe, share, like, make a comment, all that good stuff. So Pam Bondi is now saying that they will answer the questions within reason, but she's not meeting the deadline, and she doesn't think that these questions are within reason. That's something that we heard from Stephen Miller, the Deputy Policy Chief, earlier this morning. Let me go to his sound right now. He said this just moments ago.
You cannot have a democracy where single individual district court judges can assume the full total powers of the commander-in-chief. Even on the Supreme Court, it takes agreement of 5 Supreme Court justices to change a federal policy. 5. A single district court judge out of 700 cannot set policy for the entire nation, let alone on national security and public safety issues. The president has been clear that he has tremendous respect for Justice Roberts and believes it's essential the Supreme Court crack down and stop this assault on our democracy from these radical rogue judges that are usurping the powers of the presidency and laying waste to our entire constitutional system.
Wow. Okay, so he's saying you're usurping the powers of the presidency. You're basically, sticking a middle finger at the entire Constitution. And we're not going to play that game because we're not going to get stuck on defense again. This lawfare was all we went through for 4 years. So we're just going to move first. We're going to ask questions later. And Judge James Boasberg, good luck. I really don't know what your penalty is going to be. When you say there can be penalties, what are you going to do? Now lock up Pam Bondi? I don't think they have anything. So they're calling their bluff. They're saying we're not going to play this game. We're not going to engage in this lawfare. And we have every right to be doing what we're doing. There's a former U.S. attorney that just said this recently on another network. I want to cut to him because he's basically making the point that they are trying to engage in lawfare and that they just don't have the power to do this. And so the Donald Trump administration, the DOJ, is right to say, we're not going to play that game. Here we go.
Ultimately, nearly all, this is lawfare by other means. I think Caroline Levitt sort of alluded to that. There's been 129 lawsuits in Trump's less than 60 days of being in office. To put it in further context, in his first term, there were 64 injunctions against Trump. That's more than the sum of George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's administration all put together. The legality of Donald Trump, President Trump, is absolutely right. It doesn't matter. This is a 1798 law. We're using gobs of the First Amendment right now on your air. That's an even older law. And so the Alien Enemies Act, what the president did is he very shrewdly intertwined TDA with the Venezuela government and as calling it a hybrid criminal state because Maduro and TDA have joined together in law enforcement, in military. The Maduro government funds TDA to come to the United States, to bring cocaine, to sow discord, to engage in violence. And he has enacted the Alien Enemies Act, declared TDA a foreign terrorist organization, and ordered their removal. That's what the AEA was meant to do. And so the president has acted in his Article 2 authorities. And for a district judge in Washington, D.C., and I hope you'll ask me about all the mistakes this judge has made already, but for a judge to substitute his judgment for the President of the United States or the ACLU's judgment, you might as well substitute the winner of the Publishers Clearinghouse's judgment for the president.
Wow. All right, so this is heating up, you guys, and I think that they're getting called out. In other words, people are like, we realize there's an establishment very hard at work, whether it be the media, whether it be some of the judicial entities, and we're going to push back against that with the Constitution on our side, going back, I know it hasn't been used in a while, to a little-known Aliens Enemy Act of 1798, but they're going to use what they have, what they can, and they're going to move first and ask questions later. Stephen Miller, obviously furious about this. He spent a lot of time studying this. Pam Bondi, same story. And then you're seeing former U.S. attorneys saying, you know, this is nothing but a whole bunch of lawfare. I agree with it. It's lawfare. But here's the deal. This administration is ready for it. All right? Know that. They're ready, willing, and able. And they have spent the last 4 years studying the Constitution and studying the law to be prepared to do exactly this. Donald Trump saying, of course I can use this 1798 law. Even I was, oh, well, this is for a time of war. It's a time of war. He's like, what do you think this is? We got a terror organization trying to infiltrate the United States of America. Does that not qualify as a kind of war? Here he is over the weekend on Air Force One.
In the United States, it's an invasion. And these are criminals, many, many criminals. Murderers, drug dealers at the highest level, drug lords, people from mental institutions. That's an invasion. They invaded our country. So this isn't, in that sense, this is war.
Yeah. He's not wrong. Okay, we've been invaded. That has to stop. It is stopping. We're going to talk about that because border crossings are down 95%. Amazing. You know, the Democrats said this could not be done. And what do you know? It sure as heck got done. Anyway, take a look at this right here. This is a conservative congressman just tearing into an anchor on CNN saying, why are you supporting the bad guys? I will say this. They're going to have a hard time in the court of public opinion with the narrative they've got going on. We're going to protect the extraordinarily dangerous, brutal criminals out of a gang from Venezuela?
Well, but so no matter what a judge
and he's
says,
taking the side, and he's taking the side of a bunch of criminals.
He hasn't taken any. He hasn't taken any side yet, Congressman. He hasn't taken any side yet. All he's done is put a stay on the White House action here, so that he can review their use of their novel use, frankly, of the Alien Enemies
Oh, come
Act.
on, these guys! Listen. These guys, the difference between God and these judges is God knows he's not one of these judges. They're arrogant. They practice this type of thing all the time. And if you had a conservative one doing it, you all would be raising total hell. But because it's a left-winger and it's standing and you all take that side.
This isn't a question about the media. This isn't a question about the media. No one's taking a side here. Congressman,
yes,
no one's taking a side here.
He is not.
I'm asking you about the Constitution. Is asking about the Constitution. Is asking about the Constitution taking a side. All I'm asking you is about the Constitution, what you think of it, and what you would advise this White House and your feeling about judicial rulings. And that seems to be upsetting you. I'm just trying to get your position on this and what you would advise the White House going forward.
It's not upsetting. I guess what's upsets me is that you all at CNN continuously take the side of the far left, and that's why your ratings continue to plummet. And I do not ever understand why y'all do that every time. I know you got to take the opposite side on everything, but you all are wrong on this one. Listen, this is a gang that took over an apartment complex in Colorado. They
There's not been a side taken.
They are criminals.
We're trying to understand.
They are
now, you
criminals.
can argue.
They are not
you
American
can argue.
Quit taking
You can,
their sides, CNN.
Congressman,
what
can
is
you?
wrong with you all?
Can you, Congressman?
You are so out of touch with what's 85% of this country
Congressman?
does not support what you are spewing out right now.
We haven't spewed. The only one spewing is the guy who's talking.
By the way, that's Representative Tim Burchett out of Tennessee, and he's on to something. The majority of the country does not support trying to dilly-dally and think through, whether or not you can deport people of a known criminal gang from a known enemy country coming in here and hanging out, okay? That's not okay. So this is why, I'm telling you, this is why if all the Democrats had showed up, we had a new study that came out this week showing that, guess what? Trump would have won by an even larger percentage, 5 points instead of 1.7 points. Believe it or not.